Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to episode 2 of the Mitch Alex Show. Today, unfortunately, not featuring Big Keegan Brettle.
He's gone to the pub.
He has. He's gone to the pub to have a couple of VBs and drown his sorrows in the fact that the Tigers got absolutely smashed 74-0 yesterday.
Don't bring that up. I'm very upset today about it.
Mitch is here. He's wearing his Roosters jersey because he's missing the Roosters game to do this podcast with us. And with us here today is All-Star Wrestling Australia, my fellow trainee, Jimmy Poulton. Hello, Jimmy Poulton. We've got someone already. Turtle someone. W. We got W's in the chat.
What does a W mean?
W means a win. It's a win. It's W. Or maybe it's Wesley Williams.
Wesley.
Oh, it's just Wes now.
James, my guy. Who's this?
James, my guy. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe you've got some of your fans jumping in.
I do.
So today we've got a whole bunch of things on the agenda.
Hey, let's before we jump into the first topic, we promoted a bunch of topics. Box, tell me, this weekend trained everything that went into today.
Yeah.
And yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me what's been going on this weekend.
Oh look. Not much has been going on. Actually, a lot's been going on.
So now you've been training all week.
No, I have. I've been training my ass off. I'm sore. As a very controversial famous wrestler once said, I'm sore, I'm tired, I'm old, and I work with freaking children.
You're just making a quote there, right?
Yeah. No, that's what Sam Punk said. No.
There'll be people like anti-All-Star person. See, I told you guys. Fucking child.
No, look, All-Star's a great environment. This guy's the best. Anyone who hates Mitch, they don't know what they're talking about. But look, it's been a long weekend. I'm sore, but it's all worth it. It's all part of the training. So Mike's covering you, isn't it, Jimmy Poulton? Let me just make that.
That's right.
Only 3 weeks to go. 3 months.
3 months. I was going to say 3 weeks. Wow. No, 3 months to go. And so we're about halfway through the training course. And if anyone wants to get into the professional wrestling industry, I touched on it last week, but this is the place to be. All-Star's the place to be. We're going places. This guy's going places. This guy's going places. We're all going places.
We're going places, right?
How was your weekend, Mitch? How was your week overall?
It's been a pretty busy week. We're obviously preparing for Bash at the Bay too. We're very excited for that. Plus, we've got our Newcastle shows and our Padstow show coming up. So a lot is going into that. A lot of hard work. Lots of people to talk to. I've also recently begun playing Fortnite with you and the boys.
Yeah, you have.
Very addictive game.
It is. Yeah, look, we're on Friday night till about we're on till early Saturday morning. We're on until about 3:30 in the morning. Oh, your mic's falling. Yeah, we're on till about early Saturday morning. But
Technical difficulties. 5 minutes in box. Sorry.
No, yeah. Fortnite is pretty addictive. It's one of those games where you play one game, you're like, I'll keep going, and then before you know it, I think we jumped on. It was about 9:15. We spent about an hour because this guy couldn't figure out his microphone. He couldn't work his microphone, so we there's something with your microphones, isn't there?
Yeah, and All-Star shows sometimes.
All-Star shows as well, yeah. But look, we got through it. We got through it really well. Yeah. Do you want to run around and fix that for us, Jimmy?
I will.
Look, we're live, mate. There's only one way to go.
Don't read the chat.
What is there? Some heat for Jimmy Poulton?
No, it's the opposite.
Wow, watching with one hand because of Jimmy P.
Whoa!
Wow, guys, let's keep it PG.
No, let's keep it MA.
MA 15. We'll take it.
Just don't go into details.
Jimmy, come back in frame. I'm almost done, please.
Who is this, Jimmy?
Yeah.
I do not know who this is.
Some random guy that just follows you randomly.
Yeah, I hope he's underage.
Dad, why are you watching this?
Overage.
No, I mean I hope.
Jimmy Poulton says it's his dad.
Whoa! That's
he's watching with one hand because he's downloading the file with the other.
That's a headline.
Right.
Let's avoid this kind of conversation.
Yeah. How was your Fortnite? That's what we're talking about.
Let's not go too much into Fortnite because you see wrestlers. I don't even know. I'll bring this over. You see wrestlers and you don't know like too much about them. And they're young people and they're like, let's spend 10 minutes on a podcast talking about Fortnite. But I'm into the Fortnite. Thank you so much, Jim.
All good.
I'm into the Fortnite. It was a lot of fun. I played with Alex Box. I played with Keegan Brettle. I played with Matt Rowley.
Dave Waters.
He played with Dave Waters.
Did you say Aries?
Played with Aries, so that's great. It was a good time. Fortnite it's an alright game. I'm not that addicted, but
Well, he was addicted enough to play with us for 6 hours.
Yeah.
And we did get a couple wins. We did.
Yep.
Well, we got one win with Mitch, and then me, Mitch, and Aries jumped into a trios game. And for some reason, Mitch has this tendency to, as soon as the bus leaves, he just jumps. He doesn't.
Like a child, I just run off from the adults.
Yeah. So no, you're not a child. Remember that.
Yes, I'm like a child.
You're like a child. Yeah. So we all split off in 3 different sections of the map. He dies pretty quickly, and he rage quits. He leaves the game to never be heard of again. And me and Aries go on to win the game with a combined of 30 kills, I think it was. So enough Fortnite talk. Yeah.
People are tuning out. They're like, "Fuck, I don't watch."
Well, we've got 4 viewers. That's more than we had when we were live last week. So thanks for the room temperature Pepsi, Mitch.
It's actually fresh from the fridge.
Mm.
Anyway, box guide us around. Well, what's on the agenda today?
Look, I there was nothing from me personally, but did you cop any backlash from some things that were said last week?
Nah, like you keep promoting that we're these controversial beings, and oh no, look out, Mitch has got a microphone. But I'm not that controversial.
No, he's not controversial. I think
the big dog, he's a little bit controversial, but
yeah.
I don't know.
I don't think he said anything that people could get angry at. There might have been a couple.
I certainly did.
Yeah.
Minded my P's and Q's, as they say.
Yeah. Well, yeah, Keegan, he said a lot of things, but he didn't really go out and offend anyone except for maybe Nicky Van Blair. But apart from that, there wasn't really anyone that he made that could have said that he was offensive. So
and look, at least he's been a man about it and said, "Hey, if you've got an issue, come to him."
And I think that was the main point of what he was saying. He was saying, if you have an issue, come and talk to me about it.
Do we have anything on the comments section before we?
Good old room temp Mitch. Who said that? DMWC Films. Who's that? DMWC.
Oh, that's Shay, our camera guy.
Oh, Shay. How you
Big
going, Shay?
shout out to Shay.
I love Shay.
Been with All Star for a very long time.
He's
has.
a legend as well.
Yeah,
He got some good footage.
Yeah, well, apart from that, should we go straight into the hot
Go
topic?
into what you promoted, Alex.
Okay, so
Give the people what they want.
last week we very, very slightly touched on it, but we wanted to use this episode to go into a certain incident that happened in All Star last year.
Was it last year around this
It was
time?
it was about just over a year ago last year. You promoted a tour called the Winter Warfare Tour.
Yeah,
It was a 4-day tour featuring Chris Masters, the Eastern States champion at the time. It was 4 events in Cobar, Cootamundra, Forbes, and then ending in St. Mary's, if I'm correct.
Yeah, St. Mary's wasn't really part.
I wasn't part of the tour, but it was the 4 days
It
in
was
a row.
4 days in a row.
Aries.
Oh, it's Aries. Here we go. He's excited.
Okay, Aries.
Yeah, so after this 4-day, or during this 4-day tour, I think it was in Forbes. Was it in Forbes that the incident occurred?
Yeah, and I don't know how much I can say about the actual incident.
Yeah.
Just because it's currently a legal matter, apparently. That's
Yeah.
what I hear. But I'm not involved in that.
Yeah.
But I also don't want to wreck that for the powers that be, like
Yeah.
legitimate power.
Yeah. So yeah, there was an incident that occurred during Forbes, and well, do you want to take it from there? Because
let's run through the whole tour, and if any of you guys have questions on the way in, or
and
chat,
Aries is in the comment section, and he could have some input. So if Aries, if you want to,
because what we got to remember is all of this is alleged, and my memory could be fuzzy because I've literally ran probably 20 or 30 shows since.
yeah, and it's been over a year, so
no, it's just been under a year. But
just under a year.
It's not something that
Oh, it has just under a year.
Not something I like.
Remember vividly.
Remember in my mind.
And at the time, it would have been very like it might have been a blur at some point.
Yeah, it was,
very
yeah.
adrenaline based. So
kind of like out of shape, not out of shape, an out of body experience.
yeah.
Like on that day. So I guess we'll run through everything
Yeah.
because that's what the people want, I guess.
Yeah. So what was night 1 of the tour?
So night 1 was Cobar, which
Cobar.
is a very small town about 9 hours west. It's in the Alps.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
So like the dirt is actually orange there.
Yeah. Right. Okay.
So
Chris Masters out 9 hours west of Sydney.
yeah, he's a trooper for doing that because I think he's like international that's ever done a regional Australian tour.
Wow. Or a regional show at all, really? I don't know. Has there been any?
Yeah, well, not regional towns, but Cobar was like a town of 5,000 people.
Wow.
They got to see WWE guy in their town, so that was great to be able to.
That's a good opportunity for them.
So with the Mikey Lord situation, on that first day, we went to Cobar the day before because it's such a long drive. And we'd all rented this bus. And we got on, well, we all had this time that we were meant to get there, and it was like 11 o'clock in the morning. Is there a comment there that needs to be attended?
Airy said he didn't want to go on a certain road because to him it was dodgy.
I'll touch on that. Yeah. So we went. We got on the bus. Mikey was like an hour late. Apparently 2 hours late. I learned today from someone, but I don't recall. But he was late, and he had Akel with him, who was like who travelled with him and all that. And we got on the bus. And we started driving to Cobar, and at first it was pretty good. It was a shit of a drive because 9-hour drive, you never want to do that. Like,
no.
I love going to Batemans Bay, but I don't want to do the drive to Batemans Bay.
That's a 3-hour drive, and that's like even that we're like, oh, that's rough.
I'm like, I don't want to do that. But we did the 9-hour drive, but it actually was 11 because Mikey wanted to keep stopping, and others wanted to keep stopping as well. So we did Cobar. We got to Cobar, and Mikey, like, he was passed out in the bus on the way. Got violent on the way on the bus, not towards anyone. He punched the roof of the van, and we're like, "Whoa, calm down, it's not a big deal." And then he just passed out again. So, again, this is alleged. I believe he was on drugs on the way to Cobar.
Yeah.
Then we did the show in Cobar, and we had all the regular guys setting up, and it was Mikey. Mikey wasn't around. I heard, again, alleged, that Mikey was in an abandoned pub. And he picked up a first aid kit, and I'm not shitting you, about 50 forks. So, anyway, he comes back, we do the show. It was a good, fun show. Mikey was in good spirits. We got back, and he'd lost his motel room key.
Right.
He lost his key, and he got fired up again.
Okay.
And he launched his bag at the wall of the motel.
Right.
This is in Cobar. The incident we're talking about comes later.
Yeah.
This is in Cobar. He throws his bag, and it was pretty funny. Like, this half-full first aid kit comes out. No good shit in there. It was just like the shit you wouldn't want to.
Oh, like the shitty bandages.
Yeah, there's like some shitty bandages and some gauze. And he's like, "Oh, we might need this." I'm like, "Okay." And his 50 forks just popped out.
All 50.
Yeah, because he went whoosh and launched it.
Right.
So
I don't know. Were they metal forks?
Yeah, they were.
Wow.
Because he found them in the abandoned pub.
Death mattress.
But they're like, from memory, there wasn't any clothes or toiletries or anything you'd expect from someone to be there on a 4-day tour.
Yeah, you expect toothbrushes and spare clothes.
Because I packed heavily with clothes, but he didn't seem to have that many clothes.
Considering you wear a similar outfit all the time.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, I had 4 changes of clothes.
That's impressive.
All hygienic person.
That's impressive.
And then he passed out on the end of someone's bed. I believe it was Osmond's bed, or Aries' bed, perhaps, in their room.
Aries, if it was your bed, comment that it was your bed.
That it was yours. So anyway, we leave Cobar the next day, and I say to Mikey in the morning, because I think he was intoxicated on the alcohol in Cobar. So I just took him aside and I said, "Hey, your behaviour last night, it's a little bit unacceptable, making me feel really anxious, and I know it's making the other guys feel really anxious as well. Can you maybe calm it down?" And he was cool about it. He's like, "Yeah, no worries. Sorry about that. I just I had too much to drink," whatever he said.
Sorry. Aries said there were plastic forks because he tried to crack the door open with one and they kept snapping.
Were they plastic? I remember the big noise of a bunch of forks. Maybe I'm wrong.
And he also said his bed.
It was his bed. Passed out on what? Aries' bed.
Yeah.
On the end, passed out on what? Aries' bed.
Yeah.
On the end of it, like a dog.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Like curled up like one as well?
Aries is here. Here. Mikey's here. So Mikey didn't go to bed. He just slept sideways on Aries' bed.
Interesting.
So then we went to Cootamundra the next day, and we stopped and got some food and some drink, and then we look over like an hour into the journey, and Mikey's passed out. And again, allegedly, I assume, because I never saw him do anything, but I assume this is because of drugs. And he was eating fantails, and like the fantails melted to his face because he passed out for so long.
Wow.
So anyway, we were on.
Fantails are good, by the way. It
Yeah,
sucks that they're being discontinued, but that's
Let
not
me
the
just
point.
continue. We'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
So then at Cootamundra, everyone's loading the ring into the building, and there's these stairs, like two or three flights of stairs from memory. And Mikey's just passed out in the back of the van and couldn't wake him up. We couldn't wake him up, and we were trying to wake him up to get him in to just hang out and chill, get him out of the bus.
Yeah.
Because it was a bad look.
Yeah.
But he was out there for at least 2 hours after we arrived at the building. He would have been passed out, sleeping or whatever
Right.
for 4 hours.
Damn.
Yeah, which is crazy. And then we did the show, and he said, "Oh, I'm fine. I'm not on anything. I'm not on anything." So we let him wrestle. He had this horrible match with the Dangerous.
Right. Yeah, the dangerous.
Absolutely the worst.
Yeah.
Okay?
Absolutely the worst.
Absolutely the worst. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, it was a pretty bad match.
Oh, Aries said he tucked Mikey in.
Oh, that's nice of you.
That's
Did you give him a kiss on the forehead as well?
I feel like Aries would be caring like that. He's just had too much to drink.
Shay says those stairs sucked.
Yeah, they did suck. Yeah, I full credit to the boys. I didn't do ring crew that day.
Full credit to the
Full credit
boys.
to the boys.
Continue. Yeah.
Where was I? We did the show.
He had a terrible match with the
He had a
dangerous
terrible
one.
match because he was under the influence, but we didn't know until he got out there and saw how uncoordinated he was. So he comes back and he's like, "Oh, how was my match? How was my match?" And I go, "Look, to be honest, it wasn't very good." And he flipped out. He goes, "Oh, if you guys don't appreciate me, then there's no point in me fucking being here." And he stormed off to like this little
Abandoned pub again? No.
Abandoned pub. Not in Cootamundra. But yeah, he was flipping out again, and his mates were trying to calm him down. And obviously, allegedly, he was aggressive because he was on drugs. So then we went to Cootamundra, the hotel.
Yeah.
And this is where some stories have been mixed up. Most of the story is true. What have we got there?
We had to keep adjusting the level of the board so we could just walk them up the stairs.
Yeah, I don't remember that.
I know. And Shay has outed the dangerous one.
That's
Yeah. That's
So yeah, we get to the hotel, and the story that Mikey told publicly was one of the wrestlers fell asleep, and they had the hotel room key in their pocket. That's not true. There's a wrestler that had the room keys because he went and picked them up because Masters was at the hotel early.
Yeah.
So he picked up the keys. He did a good deed for everyone, and we went back to the hotel, and he literally went, "Here's the keys. Grab one." Everyone grabbed one. What Mikey was upset about was he wasn't issued a room with his friends, Rads and Aiko.
Right.
He was pissed off about that. So he, despite there being either one or two spare beds down below, he didn't want to go to a room with people that he deemed uncool.
Right.
So he allegedly, and I don't remember this because I was asleep, but he allegedly propped up an ironing board and tried to sleep on an ironing board. The ironing board collapsed. I was so tired I didn't even wake up. The guys the next morning were like, "I don't know how you didn't wake up to that. He smashed the ironing board." So I woke up, and Mikey is sprawled out on the floor with an ironing board. And
That's an image.
Yeah. And then he woke up, and he's like, "Oh, my fucking back hurts so much." And I'm like, "Yeah, of course, you slept on an ironing board."
That's a very Mitch response right there.
Yeah.
That's a very Mitch
Logical,
response.
logical.
Yeah.
And Shay should be able to confirm that because Shay was in the room as well. So if he's got anything to add, if he wants to, he doesn't have to.
Yeah.
But he was in the room that night as well. But anyway, I woke up the next morning to brush my teeth and get ready to go to Forbes, which was the last stop.
Yeah.
And I noticed like a powdery substance on the sink.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I at this point I assumed that it was Mikey, but again, allegedly.
Yeah.
Because I don't know that it was him. I never saw him doing anything, but I don't know any of the guys on tour to be doing stuff like that.
Yeah.
So my assumption was it was him, but I don't know for sure. So I saw that, I left it, but in my head I was starting to think, maybe it's not best for Mikey to actually wrestle at Forbes.
Yeah.
He also said on an interview that he was meant to wrestle Chris Masters in Forbes. I want to state that wasn't true at all. I don't know
No, it was supposed to be Keegan versus Chris Masters.
It was always going to be Masters Hell Yeah, Masters Dullahan, Masters Keegan,
and then Masters Eagles at the same areas. Yeah.
And that match was promoted, so I don't know where he got that from. But where was I?
You said that you didn't want him to wrestle in Forbes.
Oh, yeah,
which I think is like not only for the safety of the other wrestlers, but for his safety as well.
Yes.
If he's wrestling underneath him, so he could hurt himself or anyone else, and it's
exactly.
Not.
At this point, we'd seen him the night before, where he was very uncoordinated and he didn't even know which entry door to go out. Like we were coming out of here, and he went straight through the curtain. Which,
yeah.
That's not what we were doing when we spoke about that.
Yeah.
So it was already running through my mind. I was going to play it by ear. If he was straight and good, then fine. Yeah. So anyway, we left Cootamundra, and it took like 45 minutes for Mikey and his mates to get ready and get in the vehicle. And then we headed to Forbes, which is where everything went down.
Yeah.
I've got to watch my words here.
Yeah.
As I mentioned before,
It's illegal. Yeah.
So we're going to Forbes, which was about a 2 or 3 hour drive.
Well, I mean, you don't have to touch on it in too much detail.
No, I'm
just,
not going to. I'm just
Yeah.
thinking of the way I can word it so that it doesn't affect any legal stuff.
Yeah.
All right. So we get in the vehicle, and Mikey the whole way he's complaining about his back, and I was trying to be sympathetic to the guy, but also in a way like it sucks that his back hurt, but
It was his fault for sleeping on
it
an
was his
ironing
fault
board.
for sleeping on an ironing board. Like even the floor would be better than an ironing board.
Yeah.
Plus, there was a nice fresh bed that didn't get used.
Right.
And it wasn't anyone's fault. Like the wrestler that had the keys, it wasn't his fault.
Yeah.
Like, you just got to be mature about it. Oh, I had to share a room with someone I didn't like. Who cares?
Yeah.
Anyway, we're doing the trip to Forbes, and he keeps saying, "I'm gonna bash such and such." The wrestler with the keys. And I'm like, "No, don't do that." I thought he was joking.
Yeah.
He was so nonchalant about it.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, don't do that. If you get violent, we're going to have to, kick you off the tour, and it's going to ruin it for everyone. Please don't do that.
Yeah.
And he said, like, begrudgingly, he's like, no, all right, I won't. And I said, yeah, just don't mess anything up. It's going to make things bad. It's going to look bad. It's going to go public. It's going to be a shit situation for all.
Yeah.
So we get to Forbes, and the wrestler in question was traveling with Chris Masters.
Yeah.
So Mikey arrives with us. So we're doing the ring crew. Mikey was just chilling in the bus, but he didn't look like he was on anything that day, allegedly. So I thought it would be all good. And I'd said to Mikey on the bus as well, I said, look, if you're that hung up about it, we'll have a chat when we get in. Man to man, you guys can shake hands and then move on.
Yep.
He wasn't keen on that. So anyway, I'm sorting out the music backstage, and I poke my head out, and nobody's there.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, what's going on? What's going on? So I go for a walk, and someone comes running up to me. I won't name them. Comes running up to me, and they go, an assault has occurred. Mikey has hit blank.
Yeah.
You need to call the police right now. So I said, okay, an assault has occurred. A crime's been committed.
Yeah.
Call the police. So called the police. Police turned up. They talked to Mikey. They talked to the wrestler in question, and the wrestler in question, I believe, didn't want to press charges. I think that's Mikey's side of the story.
Yeah.
So that's what happened. Now I didn't witness the assault, so I can't give details on that. But what I heard, alleged, Mikey hit the guy from behind, and the guy wasn't very hurt by it, and he says that Mikey punches like a bitch. So,
very important detail. Very important detail. I was going to say, John Whelan put in that he slept on the floor and didn't complain. So the floor would have been a better option. Sorry, I just thought I'd throw that in there and say hi to John Whelan.
Hi, John. I'm looking forward to seeing John next week.
Yeah.
He's one of the good guys in wrestling.
He's a good egg.
Where was I? So after the first
punches like a bitch.
He punches like he. No, that's what he said.
Yeah.
I don't need a punch from Mike.
No.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
So anyway, the cops just said, stay away from the building. And at that point, I did ban him from the building. I said, look, can't have you here tonight. There's been an assault. I don't know if you're on stuff or not, and he didn't accept that. He's like, I didn't travel all this way not to wrestle. But at that point, as a promoter, you need to make a judgment call. And this one was an easy one to make.
Yeah.
So I made the judgment call. I said, you can't wrestle tonight for the safety of others and yourself. Questions?
No, well, we'd go.
All right. So that was all good. But the club didn't ban Mikey from the building entirely.
Okay.
They
Just the auditorium?
Well, I banned him from the auditorium.
Okay.
I don't know what they did.
Okay.
So he was in the bar. He was just drinking for hours. Which I thought was the most ridiculous thing.
Yeah.
Because
That's inconvenient.
that's very inconvenient.
That is.
I'm
gonna go. Okay.
Microphones.
I was going to say, I guess James is heading off. But
He didn't say much. Why,
he
Jimmy?
didn't.
But no, thank you for having me.
We'll see you next week. Maybe.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
People are like, what's happening next? What's happening
It's
next?
getting too controversial anyway.
Yeah,
Next? What's happening
It's
next?
getting too controversial anyway.
Yeah, well, at least you can move over now and be in the shot.
So where was I? He was in the
He's sitting
bar.
yeah.
He was in the bar drinking with his mates, AKL and lads. And to be fair, they were in a difficult spot. And I don't hold anything against those guys. And I like both of them. So there's no heat there. It distracts me every time.
Sorry, no, it's just Aries said that, to be fair, the pregnant lady who was working shouldn't have been put through the stress that she went through.
I didn't even know there was a pregnant lady.
I think that Aries. Sorry, continue. No interruptions.
Anyway, so he was in the bar drinking. He's getting drunk. And he wanted to talk to me. And I'm like, okay, I'll talk to him. And he says, I need my pay for the show if you want me to go. Plus, I need a sum of money. I think it was $400 because he wanted to Uber back to Forbes. Because I talked to the guys and they didn't want him in the van on the way back because he was violent and whatever. So we tried to arrange for a truck to take him, like the ring truck.
Yeah.
He says, I'm not doing that. I'm not a fucking rookie. And I'm like, well, it might be your best option because otherwise you're going to be out $400.
Yeah.
Then someone else offered to drive him as well. I won't mention their name, but they offered to take him as well. And he said, no, I'm not going to put them out like that. So it's like he was insisting on being in this van with people that didn't want him around.
Yeah.
And he's getting drunk. He's getting belligerent. He's demanding money. So I gave him his match payment. That's another thing he said that he didn't receive. He said he didn't receive payment.
Yeah, well, I can just input on that because I saw on Facebook that he put out that he was kicked off the tour without pay and left out in the cold.
Yeah. So he was paid, and there's witnesses to that. But when he asked for the $400 or whatever it was to get back to the other one, well, of course I said no to that.
Yeah.
So I think I left and I was talking to his guys and I was trying to get them to calm him down because he hadn't tried anything. He's just belligerent and antisocial behavior.
Yeah.
So I go out there for a second talk and he said, can I come in and watch the show? And I'm like, no, absolutely not. I can't do that. At this point, he got angry and he starts angrily walking towards the auditorium. And you got me, Rads, Akel, I think Keegan. We're all trying to stop him because he's going to go back and hit the person that he hit before.
Yeah.
And someone else that he didn't like.
Yeah.
So we're trying to stop him. He marches into the auditorium and he's like, he's going mental, like, fuck you, such and such. I'm going to bash you, such and such. Then he started to turtle me. Mitch, I'm going to fucking ruin you. I'm going to ruin your life, rah, rah, rah. And I'm like, like holy shit. So I walked into the backstage area. And luckily, Big Chris Masters was there because I'm walking towards the backstage area. Mikey's walking towards me. Masters walks out and he kind of separates us.
Yeah.
So Masters actually stood up and was ready to deck Mikey, which would have been an all-time Aussie wrestling story, but Mikey was smart enough to stop.
Yeah.
What
a story for Masters to take back to the US as well.
Well, yeah, when I talked to Masters, he said it was disgusting behavior.
Yeah.
And he's like, Masters said to me, it's Masters' opinion.
Yeah.
Said that he knew Mikey was on stuff all weekend.
Right.
And because Masters was open about it, he said, I've had my issues.
Yeah.
And I can tell. He says, I've been trying to avoid him all week. Well, I guess the 4 days because of that. And I said, yeah, we've just been trying to nurse him back to Sydney and do the right thing. Which is so odd because we're trying to nurse a 37-year-old man.
Yeah.
Because he can't function as an adult. So that was it, really. Like, he eventually got bundled out by someone who I won't name.
Yeah.
But it's someone you wouldn't expect.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
I'll tell you off
You
air.
can tell me off air.
I'll tell you off air. But Mikey upped up at someone who did not deserve it. Nobody did.
No.
And then someone else upped up and scared Mikey away.
Right. Actually, I think I might know who it is.
Yeah.
I think I might know who
It's
it
someone
is.
you wouldn't expect.
Yeah.
It wasn't me.
No, I
Wasn't
wouldn't expect you. But yeah.
But they got rid of him, and then allegedly the story was the cops caught up with Mikey somewhere else.
Right.
They banned him from the building. They said if he returned, he'd be trespassed. And then his side of the story is he went to the pub and hung out, and that's when he harassed my partner. Sexually harassed my partner. Sent her messages. She had to block him. Started sending me messages.
Yeah. I was gonna say, when did the
Should we read the messages?
if you'd like to.
I've got my phone right
I was
here.
gonna say, while you do that, when did the infamous post he put up get put up?
That was at the pub as well. All
Okay.
of this was at the pub.
Yeah.
Because as I mentioned, he'd been at the club drinking.
I was gonna say, would you like my point of view on
Sure, give
this?
it
Yeah.
while I look for this.
Yeah. So I
Don't get
was
yourself into trouble.
no, I won't. No, I was friends with Mikey on Facebook. I still am, I think. And at this point, I had only been to one. Well, it was just after a night to remember. So I was super excited for the St. Mary's show, Robbie Eagles versus Keegan Brettle. And I opened Facebook, and it was like 3 minutes ago, just posted, boycott All-Star Wrestling. If we find a copy of the post, maybe we can read that. But if you'd like to read the messages, if you have one.
Trying to find it.
Well, then I think I have the post somewhere. I'll get that up. This is very social of us, guys. I'm sorry.
I actually have the messages. Lots of dead air here.
There is. I'm sorry.
Talk.
Okay, yeah. I'll look. I'm just looking for the post.
People
I'll
are
find it.
tuning
That's okay. Let's read some questions. Big respect for the person who after up completely caught me off guard, but it was well within their
Who
right.
said that? Read that.
Official Aries said that.
Yes.
Shay says, I believe it was Wes who he was threatening when he came back into the auditorium.
Yeah, let's not name names.
Yeah, let's not do that.
Avoid that. All right, I've got the messages from that night.
Sorry for the dead air, guys. We're just
It's certainly worth it. Believe me, stick in there.
okay.
So 7:04, which I guess would be the opening match.
Yeah, about that.
So I've got a missed audio call. And July
You've run.
that I run like 30 shows.
Yeah.
I was like, we were so nice. There was a bad and
Yeah, you could have.
Mary's event and all that.
Yeah.
He goes, I'm slowly destroying your life. Have fun tomorrow. Ha 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 ha.
Right.
So he denies publicly that he ever tried to.
Yeah, he did publicly deny cancelling the venue,
He
but
goes, someone else must have.
I believe that I saw a comment where he did call up the venue. He said that he called up the venue, but he said someone had previously called up and cancelled the venue. It wasn't him, but he said that he also called up the venue, if I remember correctly.
Clearly a lie.
Yeah.
He goes, there's so much, meaning coming your way.
Yeah.
Someone crossed me, I go 100 times on revenge. Best thing I can do is get arrested, hey? Get arrested, hey? Better off in a cell, hey? You're going to be sued. How dare you? And he goes, want me to get arrested, hey, cunt? After all I did to stick up for you, better off in a cell, hey? You're going to be sued. How dare you? And he goes, want me to get arrested, hey, cunt? After all I did to stick up for you, back you to the moon, you're going to say shit like that. This is what he always does as well. Like,
yeah.
He stuck up for me, like, against who?
I was going to say, and there has been, we won't name names, but there has been more recent events, I guess, where similar messages have been sent. So
yes.
You can see that it's a reoccurring thing, I guess.
And he goes, your company is over and I'm going to fuck your missus.
Whoa. Wow. that Jesus.
You
Okay.
gotta recognize it for what it is. It's him trying to be funny. She'd never.
No, of course not. No, yeah.
But it's also a pretty heavy threat and sexual harassment. And that's how I took it at least. Then he goes, outside in the cold. I probably caught pneumonia by now. Pneumonia spelled wrong again. For duty of care. Sounds like compensation. See, the thing with my legal threats and other people's, mine are real because it's free and very accessible to me. He always threatens to sue people as well.
Yeah.
And then he sent a screen cap of his father's law firm. I won't mention that because his dad is probably embarrassed enough by everything as it is.
Yeah.
He says, my girlfriend is another 2.5 hours away. You've left me, Alex, and stranded. Can't even sit in the bus. I want a refund. I want the money you owe me. You paid me nothing. He got paid. Then he goes, I'll even get the ATO involved in your taxes. Which is funny because we pay tax every year. Yep. And then he's going to say, then he says, I'm going to make you wish that you delegated keys yourself. And then he implicates another wrestler.
I was going to say, can I just say, I love how this is allegedly all over some hotel keys.
It's so immature, isn't it? When you think about it. You know, it's
like just putting it that way makes it seem just so like over these 4 days or 3 days or however long it was, over some hotel keys.
Yeah, it's so ridiculous.
Anyway, continue.
Then he mentions a wrestler who I won't mention because he's not involved in this at all and he never made any threats or did anything. He says, blank and his boys are aware. They're part of blank. Which, of course, is not true. Then he goes, got your address too, winky face. So this didn't really scare me because I knew that he didn't have my address. Yeah. But it scared the shit out of my missus for a long time. Yeah. Because I don't know how easy it is to get people's addresses.
Well, it depends who has your address and who they talk to, I guess. It's like, I don't think you can, like, Google anyone's address, really, but if someone else that he knows has your address.
Well, it was scary for her, and I didn't really appreciate that at all.
No, yeah.
Then he says, keep defending your lies, motherfucker. You ain't shit. Then he goes, send my money or it'll get much worse for you. Now, I keep saying this. Yeah. I think he's referring to the Uber money or the petrol it took to get home from Forbes, but...
Because you paid him his match.
I paid him his match fee, and there was never any guarantee. So then the next day, at 6:02 p.m. So at this point, I was just willing to give benefit of the doubt, and I wasn't going to go public about anything because I figured, he's on drugs, he's drunk, whatever, allegedly. Yeah. So I'm like, it might be a bad day. So the next day, he goes... Seeing lawyers tomorrow, going to court anyway. All-Star will be no more. You deserve everything you're about to get. Then he goes, we're all sick from being left out in the cold, didn't pay any of us. No duty of care, which obviously we gave plenty of duty.
Yeah, plenty.
No insurance, which doesn't make sense because we need insurance to run shows. Yeah. Then he goes, no tax, which also makes no sense because we file a tax return every year like all businesses should. Yeah. And he goes, you're fucked, cunt. you should have manned up and done something about blank, which is the guy he assaulted. And then... Some more missed audio calls, I see. Or video calls. The next day at 1:39 p.m., missed call. Then 3 hours later, another missed call. Then 2 hours after that, a missed call. And
I will say, like, I'm looking at this, and there is no response from Mitch whatsoever. No, so he's not. There's no egging on or nothing of that kind. Like, it's...
And then I had to block him. Yeah. That's after the police advised me to block him and have nothing to do with it. Yeah. And I hadn't heard anything about it until, 3-4 weeks ago? When it's all brought to the...
Yeah, because that's the thing. Like, I guess, like, there was the St. Mary's show, and then there was the show after that, which was One Shot at Glory.
Yeah, but if I can mention, he threatened that he was going to turn up at the St. Mary's show, so that was...
That I do remember that, and I remember sitting there being like, is he going to walk through these doors?
Yeah. So that put everyone on edge. Yeah. And the situation at Forbes, like, I think people understate it, and they're like, he deserves a second chance, and he's had multiple chances anyway. Yeah. But for us that night, everyone was shell-shocked. Yeah. It wasn't a fun thing to go through. It wasn't just a scrap or a squabble. Like, I was completely zoned out, and like I wasn't, as I mentioned before, it was like an out-of-body experience. Yeah. Someone had to book the show for me that night. There was guys hugging backstage, comforting each other because it was that bad of a night. Yeah. People threatened with assault.
And I mean, especially for the wrestlers involved, like specifically involved, it'd be something that, could traumatize them for, like, it was a pretty, from what I've heard anyway, it was a pretty traumatic event.
It was. It's the worst day in All-Star history for me, at least. it wasn't a fun thing. Nobody went out there and had a great night and killed it.
Mm.
It was just shit, and it's like we've got this commitment to make, and we've got to do it.
Yeah.
What was I talking about before I commented on all this? Before I commented on how everyone felt.
He threatened to come to St. Mary's show.
He threatened to come to St. Mary's, and so obviously we were all paranoid about that. He cancelled the show in St. Mary's. I had to get it back on.
Yeah.
Because customers were calling. He was encouraging them to call.
I even messaged, I messaged a few people, like a few of the wrestlers, and said, "Hey, is the show still on tomorrow? Because I've heard it's been cancelled."
Yeah.
And they'd respond with, "No, someone else has cancelled it. Trying to get it back now. Should be all good."
Yeah. And he lied to them and said that there was a death in my family, and that's why it was cancelled.
Yeah.
And that actually, in a legal sense, that's fraud.
Yeah.
So there's all sorts of shit that I could have, put on him, but I didn't.
Not to mention the post he put up about you.
Well, yeah, that's slander.
Yeah.
Like bad slander too. It's not just
it's something that'll like ruin people's even now that like people know it's not true. But it's one of those things that there'll be some people that be like, "Oh, but what if it is?" And that's all it takes.
Well, there's people that would be fans of his.
Yeah.
That might not have seen our post and our guys.
Yeah.
And they might assume that that's true.
Yeah.
I'll never know.
And that ruins like business for you as well, but like more so just your name. Like
yeah. But it was great that all the All-Star guys there that night, they gathered around me and they shared everything.
Yeah.
And we made a post. And even Chris Masters stood up and he said, none of this is true. So that really touched my heart a lot that there's so many people happy to have my back. And,
yeah.
Because not a lot of people would be able to garner that much support. But
yeah.
I'm so thankful that I did. But yeah, then we involved the police again because he's threatening us, and my missus, she was, scared of him, which
well within her rights to be, yeah.
And then we were concerned that he was going to turn up at, I think there was a Collecticon and then a Padstow show. So we had to take measures to make sure he wasn't allowed in there, and then we kind of knew that he wasn't coming back.
Yeah,
which was a huge relief and a huge weight lifted off me.
Yeah, because I was saying earlier, like from pretty much that August show, everything about Mikey kind of just went away. It fizzled out, and no one really talked about it much, and it kind of just disappeared for a while. There was some stuff going on with him, but in terms of wrestling, like nothing, like Mikey just kind of disappeared from wrestling for a while.
Well, he disappeared for about 12 months.
Yeah, and then he did an interview recently, and that's kind of brought everything back up to the surface, which is why we thought it might have been fitting.
There needs to be a response because there's untruth being spoken about, and something else untrue that he said, but I can't remember it. But I watched the interview. Yeah. And like a lot of people did. It was like 115 live. There was
a lot of people on that.
And I saw it for what it was. I saw that it was this guy trying to get back into wrestling.
And I was gonna say, like, look, I'll give him his props. He did own up to the things that he did wrong, but
but it's not genuine.
Yeah.
It was him trying to get back into wrestling.
Right.
And in my opinion, it's not someone that deserves to be in wrestling.
Yeah, like a lot of people say, he deserves his second chances, but there's certain things that maybe don't deserve second chances. But even so, he's had second chances.
When I got him in 2021, I've been told everything, but then I was told like, it's all right, he's ready for another chance. I'm like, okay, I'm always happy to give someone another chance. But I saw that interview. It hasn't changed. He hasn't changed. And I knew that an announcement was coming that he was booked somewhere. Yeah. That's why they'd arranged that. And then it was announced that he was booked at an EWA show. Yeah. And I said to the promoter,
well, was that officially announced that it was him? I don't think it was. It was blatantly obvious, but it wasn't officially announced that it was him.
I guess you can call it insider information.
Yeah.
I found out very quickly that Mikey was on the show, and it was like an outline of Mikey. Yeah. So I talked to the promoter. Actually, I talked to the promoter's assistant, who didn't talk to me. He didn't answer. Yeah. I said to him, hey, I don't understand why you booked this guy. and you're promoting him as the most controversial figure in Australian wrestling. It's like, he's only controversial because he's committed all these crimes against wrestlers and he's done violent shit.
Yeah, I don't think that's a tagline that you want to be promoting your show with when it could put it. Well, it kind of did put it in a negative light for a little while, and then
Of course. And
he
then
got unbooked.
They did the right thing. Kudos to them, but he never should have been booked in the first place.
Yeah.
Is there any questions, or have we covered it quite well?
I think we've covered it. I think everyone's kind of just.
I mean, most people know this story. It's not too.
Well, yeah, it's pretty out there now, but I think, this is, I guess, the first time you've touched on it in depth. Publicly.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that was kind of just what we wanted to.
All right. Well, let's read some comments. What do we got?
It's Aries saying I didn't want to give it attention. It didn't deserve. One of those that were best left forgotten.
Can I comment on that? 100% agree with Aries there. And a few other people have said it's not worth giving time to. It's not worth, because I've had interview requests about this, and I'm doing it here in a comfortable environment for me.
Yeah.
But it's like, why would we give attention to this? Like after this, I'm done.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, no, of course.
It happened. It was a shit situation. It wasn't good for anyone, including him.
Yeah.
And he's got himself blacklisted over it.
Yeah.
And it sucks for him because I'm sure when he's not on, allegedly on drugs and alcohol, he's probably a really good guy deep down.
Well, I met him in a Nitro M3 where him and Aries won the tag titles, and he was a really nice guy. Like, he took some photos with me and we had a nice conversation. He seemed like a great dude.
I think Adam Graham and Tyler Gunn, who they came out in support of me recently as well. I think they put it best that he needs to get some help.
Yeah.
Needs to recover from his addiction or whatever it is, alleged.
Yeah.
And come back better, stronger, and actually prove to people that he's done better. But the situation, the interview, it didn't fool me. It didn't fool most people in my circle. It only seemed to fool, people that don't really know Mikey too well.
Yeah. Or just the fans that,
the fans that don't really know.
The fans that don't,
I lived with the guy for 4 days and it wasn't good.
Yeah.
Any other comments?
Hopefully. And it's not one of those things where, we want Mikey to get better. We want him to, be able to come back and because he was he's a great wrestler. He's I love watching him.
Yeah, he's got his positives.
Yeah. So it'd be great to see him get that help and get better.
It would be, and the blacklisting we gave him, the blacklisting.
That's right. Yeah, we didn't touch on that.
He said on his interview that there was a situation where I banned anyone from being in Mikey Lord's ring.
Yeah, that's right.
To my knowledge, that was what Adam Graham admitted that he did that. That wasn't from my end. My rule has always been if you're on a show with Mikey, I won't book you.
Yeah.
And that's how it's going to be until he gets better.
Yeah. Which I think is fair enough.
Yeah. Now, how will we deem that he's better? I don't know. I can't control how he gets better or when. I can only do my best to look after Australian wrestling.
Yeah.
Because enough of it has been hurt by the wrong type of people.
Yeah.
And Mikey's situation, he was burning buildings in terms of damaging their shit. They might not ever want wrestling back again.
Yeah.
A hotel in Cobar, I think, he damaged something there.
Right.
So that hotel in Cobar might go, Aussie wrestling's fucking shit, they damaged our hotel.
Yeah.
Cootamundra, he broke their ironing board. Now, there aren't big things.
Yeah.
But he did a couple $100 worth of damage, maybe a little bit more. And that's not a good look for Aussie wrestling. It's not a good look for Aussie wrestling where a guy is involved in a situation with an axe.
Yeah.
Which I don't know anything about.
Yeah,
Apparently he was found innocent. But even being involved in a situation with an axe, it looks bad.
Yeah.
He's making Aussie wrestling look bad, and until he can make it look good, I won't endorse him being involved.
Yeah.
That's my choice.
Yeah.
I'm willing to forgive him though, and That's a lot after everything I've just mentioned.
Yeah, no, 100%.
But I don't buy the apology you gave me
Yeah.
3 weeks ago or whatever.
I think it's one of those things where instead of going out on a podcast and addressing it like that, it needs to be more of a private thing.
Well, I'd never speak to him privately.
Well, yeah.
But a time will come where I say, look, he's clearly done good.
Okay,
and
yeah.
I'll loosen the grip, I guess, if you want to call it that. People seem to think I have all this power, but I don't.
No.
I just put my rule out there.
Yeah.
And that was it. And
Like, at the end of the day, it's up to the people who work your shows whether they do that.
Yeah, they can choose. But EWA 100% eventually did the right thing.
Yeah.
So great for them.
Yeah.
100%. I respect Sam Eder over there for doing the right thing. And anyone who books Mikey, which hopefully is nobody, I wouldn't have any respect or anything to do with that.
Yeah.
Do we have any questions, Alex?
No, it's just Kylie says he wishes everyone would get along.
That's never going to happen.
Yeah, that's never going to happen. There's always going to be someone.
There's too much jealousy, and someone has success, and they're like, oh, they've only got this success because of this.
Yeah.
No, it's because, in my circumstance at least, I work hard every
Yeah.
single day of my life for this.
And I can attest to that. I've seen, Mitch, late hours.
Late hours,
lots
long
of
days.
long.
I haven't had a day off from All-Star stuff since the end of COVID in January 2022. So it's a year and a half.
And like it can be anything from social media posts to all the stuff he does here, like helping out with training and all the shows that he runs. He's a hard worker, and I think that it's shown in the product that we put out is just a testament to his hard work because it's such a great product, and that wouldn't happen without the hard work.
There as well.
It did.
Overnight, and anyone who says Mitch only got there because of X, Y, and Z, they're 100% wrong. All Star does well because we work harder than most others.
Yeah.
It's just how.
And I think like at the end of the day, you're a hard worker, but the crew that we have around us as well
of course,
is such an incredible crew.
Always give credit to the crew there. One of the best crews out there from Mia who sells tickets to you who helps out at merch, all the way up to guys like Wes Williams and Keegan who are main event wrestlers.
Yeah,
everyone
of
is
course.
important.
And that's the thing, it's an environment where everyone feels equal. It's not, you're more important than me or whatever.
It's a family feel. A lot of people.
It is,
that.
It is.
It feels like a family.
It does, going to shows and training before shows, seeing all the wrestlers, and it's a real family feel. Everyone's happy to see each other.
It's taken a long time to get there as well. We've got a no dickhead policy.
Moving on from the Mikey situation because we spent about 45 minutes on that.
I want to get off my chest, Alex.
No, it was good. No, I'm glad we got it off our chest. I'm glad we did it early because then we can move forward without there being any. Kylie asks, "Are you nervous going to Newcastle for the first time?" That's a great question.
Haven't really given that too much thought, to be honest. Am I nervous? I guess it's always nerve-wracking going to a new building for the first time. You want everything to be successful.
Yeah.
You want the crowd to be nice. Like we've got a small following in Newcastle, but it's going to take time for it to grow.
Of course. We've got it's August 12th, isn't it? We've got Batemans Bay before then.
August 12th in Newcastle. I hope the card is strong enough. We've got a great card planned.
Yep.
I hope it's strong enough for some of our loyal Sydney fans to come up for.
Yep.
And I'd also love to get as many of the Newcastle people out there. And
I mean, it's been announced that Wes Williams is taking on Otis for the title. Should he defeat Dan Archer at Batemans Bay?
That's right, but the match will still occur even if Wes Williams does lose that belt to Dan Archer. So it's a partial rematch from our biggest show of the year.
Yeah.
Otis and Wes, and they've got beef.
I mean, they did also wrestle at Survival of the Fittest in February.
They did, yeah. And Wes was successful there, but Wes and Otis there's no better option for a main event up there for the first time to showcase what All Star's about. But am I nervous? I guess partially, but I'm also very excited.
Yeah, I think it's more excitement than nerves. I think
we're not sitting around going, we've got to go into Newcastle. I'm nervous about it. We're excited.
We can't wait for it.
Yeah, I'm very excited to get up there and start something new up there. Yeah,
I think it'll be a good opportunity because, like we said last week, we are All Star Wrestling Australia, not All Star Wrestling Sydney or All Star Wrestling Padstow. So getting out and expanding, I think it'll be good for us and help us grow. Like we just finished a Night to Remember, and I think this next year leading up to a Night to Remember 5 is going to be a huge growth for us. So I'm excited.
Yeah, not to remember 5. Let's leave that. In
No, I'm just
2024.
saying that year, that like I think the rest of this year is going to be huge for us.
Night to Remember 4 was actually very stress-free and good. So
yeah,
I'm excited for number 4.
Kylie says the Impact tour at Wagga was successful. He was there at all 3 shows. Did you see much of the Impact tour or any of the video? I saw a couple of videos. On social
I
media,
obviously wasn't there.
Yeah, no, I'm saying, but did you see anything on social media or?
I did see some social media stuff from today, and it looked like not a great turnout for the Aussie Wrestling Showcase, which was sad.
Yeah, it's disappointing.
There's so many great wrestlers on there, like I believe Erica Reed was on there.
Yeah, I think it was Erica versus Z.
Well, Zita's great too. She just came back from Stardom.
Yeah, 2 former All-Star superstars.
Yeah, All-Star alums, yeah. Ricky South was there.
Yep.
Bonza, Moretti, all these really good wrestlers, and it seemed like the turnout wasn't there, which I don't know, maybe Wagga's just not into Aussie wrestling, but it's such a shame that it was such a great card and the attendance wasn't there. In terms of Impact on Friday night, it looked like the crowd was down a little bit there too.
Yeah.
From what I saw, but I haven't watched it on Fight TV or anything, so I could be 100% wrong. Saturday, I saw a picture and it looked quite full, which is good, I guess.
Yeah, it was cool seeing Robbie Eagles get a shot at the X Division title.
Yeah, great opportunity for a lot of people. I was especially pleased to see Erica Reed.
Yeah.
She got to do a match on Impact against one of the Impact wrestlers. So that's great, and Erica deserves it. She's great.
I was my opinion on that is like, as much as I love, like you took wrestling to regional towns and stuff. I think Impact would have done so much better in Sydney or Melbourne or something like that.
Yeah, but see, the idea behind it, the reason why the government invested the money in the first place
is that to create tourism?
Wanted to drive tourism.
Yeah, okay.
From, I guess, wrestling fans to Wagga.
Yeah.
So it makes sense.
And I guess either way, Impact was making money.
Yeah, there would have been an allotted fee.
Yeah.
And then they would have used that fee to fly everyone in and get everything done, and then they would have taken a cut for themselves.
Yeah, okay.
I think it would have been much better if it went to a local company.
Yeah.
I was saying this earlier today.
I think we said this last week a little bit as well,
if it went to a local company that had a vested interest in making sure that it worked, it would have been a lot better. And that doesn't necessarily have to be an all-star.
No, yeah, of course.
Just anything competent, anyone competent, I should say. Any promotion that's competent should maybe have had that opportunity, and it could have been different. But I just hope that the government invests in Aussie wrestling again, because, as I mentioned last week, Aussie wrestling needs money.
Yeah.
And the government obviously has a shit ton of money.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on GCW coming over with Renegades of Wrestling?
Who's that from?
GCW's over.
No. Who's it from?
Oh, from Kylie. Sorry.
What are my thoughts on GCW coming? I don't know. I heard that they sold tickets really quickly.
Yeah.
So I don't know how true that is. I haven't done my research. I just heard that through the grapevine. I wish them success, of course. If there's a successful event with international wrestlers, it's always a good thing, because they'll go back.
Yep.
They'll go back to America and they'll go, Australia was great, big crowds, made a lot of money.
Yep.
Good for GCW as well. I want to talk about the flip side of that, though.
Yeah.
Sometimes you get internationals out here. There's a show yesterday, I won't mention it, but they had 2 internationals on the card. We're actually meant to be affiliated with the show.
Yeah.
We had it. Might as well say it was FWA.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we touched on this last week. We touched on the whole breakdown of that situation, so that's no secret.
Yeah, so I won't comment on that, but I heard that it was less than 50 people in attendance. Yeah. You got 2 internationals there in Callisto and
Lindsay Dorado.
And it was meant to be so much more. It was meant to be 250 people at Five Dock and 300-ish at Padstow.
Yeah.
And it was sad to see less than 50 people in attendance. And Callisto and Lindsay, they'll go back. They did BCW in Melbourne as well. I don't know what they drew or what they did. But
did both of them do that one?
Yeah.
Okay.
So they'll go back to America and they'll be like, oh, Australia was fucking shit.
Yeah.
Oh, why is that? Oh, we're in this tiny building. They couldn't even fill the tiny building up. There's 50, 60 people there.
Yeah.
Less.
Yeah.
Less. That's what they'd be saying. And not making any money on merch or anything like that.
Yeah.
So they're just getting their guarantee, and that's It's not a good look for Aussie wrestling.
No, it's not.
But Renegades, they do a good job.
Yep.
World Series does a good job.
Yeah, they do a great job.
I'm sure Impact did a good job with, the accommodations and everything.
Well, it was great to see that they didn't bring over, their mid card roster or whatever. They brought over their world champion Shelley. They brought over Saban, Kazarian. They brought over some big names, not only currently in Impact, but when you think of TNA in general, that's what you think, right? You think Shelley, Saban.
You got to think though. Are those names enough to get the casual wrestling fan?
Well, maybe not, but I don't think apart from the ex-WWE guys that were in TNA, I don't think that those names would draw to the casual fan.
No.
In terms of if you had a Kurt Angle or even a Sting or even a Samoa Joe, that would get someone over. But I don't think that even a Saban or a Shelley would get the casual fan.
No. So I think it should have been. We're live.
Oh, sorry, I thought you might be watching the footy.
No, you're good.
I'm going up the road.
Okay.
Are we leaving at 6?
We're live. Yes, we'll go at 6.
Oh, you get nothing from the shop.
There's a cameo from Mia there.
Yep.
Yeah, no, you're right. If there was a Sting or someone there, that would have been enough to attract a
Of course.
hardcore.
That would be enough for me to make the trip down to Wagga Wagga. But for I think the Sydney fans, well, there were some that did go, and I think that's some good commitment. It contributes to.
Yeah. Hardcore wrestling fans went down there, and you got to respect.
But personally, I don't think I'd go down. Alex Shelley and Chris Sabin are two of my all-time favorites. I love the Motor City Machine Guns. I grew up on them.
It's tough for someone like you as well, who's a young person.
Yeah, of course.
Drive and who's in school to get down to Wagga Wagga.
Yeah, of course.
They didn't really take that into account either. I don't think.
No. But even with All Stars had some internationals over and we've done really well. And, you even had Chris Masters, he came over for a night to remember.
Yep.
And he enjoyed it so much that he came over for a 4-day tour.
Well, he was booked for that.
Well, he was booked for that already.
Before.
But,
he loved all.
He loved all 5 days. Carlito was great over here. I'm sure he had a good time.
Yeah,
I'm sure the Ultimo Dragon had a great time.
The internationals love it if there's a big crowd and they make them money.
Of course.
And they won't meet their Australian fans, but there's a promoter bringing them in and there's 40 people in the crowd, 50 people.
Yeah.
It's not going to be good for them.
No, it's not.
Any other questions?
Khalid said they did draw heaps for Impact. Motor City and Frankie will be here in October for World Series. I might go to World Series Wrestling. There's a few of the All-Star crew that are thinking about going to World Series Wrestling.
See, that's a Sydney stop. That is.
Yeah, that's out of Penrith. That's acceptable. Yeah, I'd take that. Is there anything else you wanted to touch on?
It's your barbecue.
It's my barbecue.
How long are we in? We went an hour and a half last week.
We're an hour and 3 minutes in. How long?
I've got until 6 o'clock according to my missus.
Okay, we've got plenty of time. I guess. Is there any questions? Has anyone got any questions?
Let's throw some questions out there.
Aries, if you're still for the 5 people that are watching, if there's any questions, All-Star related, footy related, if you like, Mitch is very.
Let's talk about.
Should we talk about the footy? Mitch and myself.
I'll get the results.
Okay, Mitch and myself are pretty avid rugby league fans. He's a diehard Roosters supporter, unfortunately, and
It's all right. Don't hold it against me.
I'm a diehard Parramatta supporter. So you look, disappointment. I'm used to it. So let's see.
Roosters are losing 12-10 to the Sea Eagles.
Oh, 12-10. That's not too bad. That's a close game.
Yeah.
Kylie, don't even make you're a Tigers supporter, aren't you? You poor fella.
You know a few Tigers fans.
Yeah, we do. Big Keegan Brettle is a Tigers supporter.
He's a tragic Tigers supporter.
It's almost sad how much he loves the Tigers.
Oh no, you can't judge a man for.
No, look, I love it. I love Big Keegan Brettle.
I feel sad for him every week.
I feel sad. I feel sad for him. Oh, he got in today, and I said to him, I assume we're not talking about last night. He's like, oh, mate, why'd you say that? Yeah, look, I watched every single second of that game, all 74 points.
And look, I got to throw it out there. Alex Box told me that he was loving it because there's a lot of his.
Yeah, look, I'm an avid NRL fantasy player. I play with Wes Williams. Wes Williams is in my comp. And shout out to Mark Cannell, who gives me all my fantasy advice.
Wes Williams told me that he doesn't really play and he's too busy.
Did he say that? Really?
He
Because
said that to you. You were present.
did he?
I think so.
I don't know. Well, for the first 10 rounds, me and him were messaging back and forth. Be like, "Oh, let's do these trades this week." And then I stopped going to him because he gave me shit advice. And he's second last in our comp, and I'm like 9th, I think. So yeah, go me. Yeah, look, Parramatta's got the bye this week. I'm a little bit disappointed. Don't get to watch my mighty Parramatta Eels, but we've got the Warriors next week. That'll be good. We've snuck into the top 8 after a terrible start of the season. What about you?
It's not much more terrible than the Roosters start to the season.
Yeah, look, you guys are out of the 8 at the moment, aren't you? You're coming 11th? 10th or 11th?
I've only been a Roosters fan for 23 years.
Yeah.
So I'm not used to the Roosters not doing well. I think they've only had 3 or 4 losing seasons, not making the finals.
Yeah. Well, you've
So-
seen 3 premiership wins in the last 10 years.
And 6 grand finals, is it?
Something like that. Well, you made 2010. I know that. You made the one against Melbourne that you lost. You lost one to Melbourne, didn't you?
Did we play Melbourne and lose?
No,
I think we played
sorry, you
Melbourne
beat
and won.
Melbourne. No, you beat Melbourne. You beat Melbourne, you beat Raiders, and you beat Manly. Those are the 3 that you won.
And then we beat New Zealand in 2002.
Yep, and you beat
That
No,
was
you
before
lost
you
to
were
the Dragons.
born, right?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, you lost to the Dragons in 2010.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not too great with my rugby league history.
I'm seeing questions on the board.
Are we?
Ah.
If you use Steiner math, Para on top. Who is that? Sensational L 94? Am I reading that right? I know I can't see. But yeah, no, Parramatta. Look, we're doing great. We've got the second best for and against in the comp. We're a cracking team up the mighty Eels. Adam Brooks and Erica won the titles this weekend. That's not true. I think it's the Oceania Pro Wrestling.
I did see. I saw a photo of Adam
So
Brooks.
just quickly, do you know what the goal is with that? Are they running regular shows? If anyone knows what's going on, chuck that in there.
They're very nice people, though.
Yeah.
Good for them.
Um.
And Erica Reid, if she did get a belt, that's amazing. Good for her.
Yeah. When are we going to see Alex in a debut match?
Who's asking?
Kyle Ead asked that. When are we going to see Alex in a debut match?
I was thinking maybe you send that through on your phone.
No, I didn't. No, I haven't touched that.
The box is about 3 months away,
Yeah.
I think.
About just over 3 months. I think it's been 2.5, I believe.
Yeah, so all right, call it 3.5 months. Then there'll be some student events where you'll be able to see him and our other students and some of the all-star guys, and they'll start debuting. And
Dancing
that's right, Dancing Dave. Shout out to him.
Shout out.
You give him a dance.
I'm not giving him a dance. No. Dave can give him. You know what? Next week on the podcast, Dancing Dave can give us a dance. No. Dave can give him. You know what? Next week on the podcast, Dancing Dave can give us a dance. No. Shout out to Tim, the puppeteer.
Just giving shout outs.
Yeah. Shout out.
Lead asked a question.
I just want to say shout out to the rest of the crew as well. You know, Jeremy Kopp, Jimmy, who was here earlier. Who was Matt Rowley? Shout out to Matt Rowley. I'm done.
All right. So once they do their student shows, when good enough, they'll be on Padstow and they'll join the regular all-star circuit, I guess you'd call it.
Yep.
There you go.
Yeah, one day, Alex Box may be a champion. Maybe. Probably not. Maybe.
Got to put on 20 or 30 kilos first, Chief.
Oh. All right. Sorry.
Start eating the ice
I
cream.
will say though, this big dog. I'm surprised. I wish we saw him in the ring because he's got a chop on him.
Got a chop.
He's got a good, and he's got a drop and a DDT. How's your finger? How's your
I
finger?
hurt my finger with the DDT on the box. He doesn't know how to take it.
Oh, here's a question from Keanu Reviews. From a promoter's perspective, what aspects of Australian wrestling do you think needs to improve to get more eyes on the product? I feel like we have great talent, but the numbers are not there. That's a great question.
Yeah, it's something I think about all the time, so I'm giving you that answer. I touched on it last week, but of course, money.
Yeah.
Like if you could bring in hypothetically, let's say you could sign someone who is in the WWE recently.
Yeah.
And you could take them to all these little towns or even tour nationally with them. And then you get your eyes on the great locals.
Yep.
That would be immense. That'd be huge. I think that's what we lack, star power.
Yeah, I think like we've discussed this off air previously as well. I think like having someone come over, say a Buddy Matthews example comes back over. We could say that he's an Aussie guy, but he's been to the 2 top promotions in the US, right? He's won championships in both. So he's got that, I guess, credibility to say that we could build a promotion around him.
He's got international appeal.
He does.
And strong national appeal as well.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, he's current MCW champion still, I think. So having someone like that we can bring over and say, this is who we're going to market our brand around, and then have all the local guys kind of feature, and that gives them the opportunity. But we need someone to bring in the eyes first.
See, when you have that, hypothetically, let's say Buddy Matthews moves back to Australia.
Yeah.
And he signs up with MCW. That opens so much up to MCW because they can now sell events to venues.
Yeah.
It's no longer just come and see this show with, it'll be a great show, but your average Joe doesn't know these wrestlers.
Yeah.
Suddenly it's come and see this show with all these great wrestlers. Plus, you might remember former WWE superstar.
Yeah.
AEW star as well.
Yeah.
It's going to be there. That's what it needs. It needs star power. Someone that the media can sink their teeth into.
Yeah.
All of that. And then if you've got the right people involved, it'll start to snowball.
I think, but it's one of those things where you can't just have him come over for a one-off and then expect the same results.
No.
It's one of those things where you need someone to come in regularly.
One-off is a sugar hit.
Yeah.
But if you go, I've got this guy for 12 appearances.
Yep.
And you build it.
That's one show a month. And then, if it works out, then you can bring them back for more.
Also, more promoters need to actually promote. I've got a knack for finding people that have never seen much of Aussie wrestling or never seen it before.
That was me. Yeah.
And then they turn up to an all-star show and they're like, oh, this is great.
Yeah.
A lot of promoters just don't promote, or they promote, but they promote to that niche.
Yeah.
If you promote to wrestling fans as a broad thing, they might eventually give the fuck to turn. And we do have the great local wrestlers that will hook people.
Yeah, I think there's certain promotions that cater to a specific
There are promoters
audience
out there, and it's not any of the bigger promotions. It's the ones that don't do very well, but they don't promote at all.
Yeah.
No paid advertising. They'll just put a poster out, and they'll hope to get people from the internet.
Yeah.
That's what happened at the FWA show yesterday.
Yeah.
I looked at the people in attendance. They're the hardcore wrestling fans that already know we're on.
Yeah.
But you've got 2 guys from the WWE who were there for years.
Yeah.
You could potentially hook an entire new audience, but there's just no effort put in by the promoter.
Yeah. How come you guys don't post full shows online? You've answered this one before.
Have I?
Yeah. Well, not on the podcast.
I'll answer it. Who asked it?
Kylie asked it.
I think there's value in doing a subscription service. I wanted to do it last year. I got lazy.
Yeah.
Maybe that could be a job for you or Jimmy Fulton or something.
Yeah.
I shouldn't use his government name. Jimmy.
Yeah.
Maybe it could be from one of you guys. But I was going to do it, and we do have such a great catalog. Like, we've got all of 2022, all of 2023. But yeah, it pretty much comes down to, I think we have a product that people would be willing to pay to watch.
Yeah. I think it's just one of those things where, like you said it before, that it's not fair to the fans who pay their money to come and see the shows if it's just going to get posted on YouTube later for everyone to watch. Because I know personally, if I knew a show was going to get posted on full on YouTube, I'm not going to go pay $30 to go watch it. I can just watch it on YouTube.
That's true. Yeah. Just got to wait your 2 weeks and it'll be uploaded.
Yeah. So,
I find that the promotions that are uploading their shows for free, and I don't want someone to catch me and be like, oh, this is a big promotion that does it. It's mainly smaller promotions that need the audience.
Yeah, okay.
For us, we've got our great fan base that love, and 200 people turn up every month. I don't really need to give away the product for free.
Yeah, and I think like if you were to, post up maybe an old show, like an older one that not many people see, like a Flashback Friday kind of thing, that could work. But like he's not going to go post A Night to Remember.
Yeah.
He's not going to go post A Night to Remember 4 up on YouTube for everyone to see.
But there's like, I think now there's like, today I uploaded J-Law versus Keegan.
Yep.
That's a full match. And
absolute banger match.
There'd have to be another like 30 or 40 minutes of highlights on there, so you can keep up to date with what we're doing. It's not hard to do that. We just don't upload the full shows.
Yeah, and I think that's fair enough.
Yeah.
Keanu Review says, cheers and agree. I see you guys always promoting your thing. I think about, what does that say? I think a bit of promotion lack the social media sense to promote the shows. Also, filming promos for the shows to build it up.
I'll give you an example. Like, I try and do a social media post every day at 5 o'clock, and I missed out on that today.
Oh, you did too. My
But
sincerest apologies.
It's okay though, because I'm doing this podcast.
Yeah.
But we try and do an upload a day.
Yeah.
Like today, there's been an upload on our social media.
Yeah.
It wasn't at 5 o'clock, but there was a YouTube video posted. We upload something every day.
Yeah.
It keeps people engaged, keeps them thinking about us.
It
A
does.
lot of promotions, I won't name names because I don't need to be petty like that, but a lot of them will just upload something.
Yeah.
And then 2 weeks later, there'll be another update.
Yeah.
Then, 2 weeks after that, then their show's coming around where they try and push everything in at the last minute. And then they wonder, oh, geez, why have I only drawn 75 people at a RSL club in Water?
Yeah. Not to name names. Look, and I can kind of give an input just based off my previous podcast experience, I guess. A couple of people here probably watched the Brass Ring podcast that is no longer. No, not a fan. Never heard of it? No. Mitch was actually a guest on that. But I try and post as often as I can. And if I'd get busy with schoolwork or whatever, and there was a couple of days in between where I didn't have any content to put out, I'd start to lose traction, and the views would get less, and whatever. But then I'd start to consistently post again, and I'd gain some likes and some followers. So it's all about consistency.
It seems like such a basic concept as well. Like,
And yeah,
just promote your shit every day.
Yeah.
And you'll draw more.
and I guess you've been doing it for so long, so it's kind of just second nature now. Just not 5 p.m. update.
Well, I
time.
also went to school for media, so
I went to school for a lot of things.
I'm educated.
He's an educated man.
Yeah. I went to school for broadcasting actually, so I hope I'm doing well. Like,
yeah, look,
imagine.
we've got what, like 150 views on our first episode.
We'll keep growing.
By the way, guys, check out the first episode of the Mitch Alex Show featuring Keegan Brettle. That one was featuring Keegan Brettle.
Keegan was very controversial.
And I feel so bad. It's been an hour and 17 minutes, and we haven't plugged our sponsor.
Oh yeah, give him a plug.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Mitch and Alex Show, sometimes featuring Keegan Brettle, is sponsored by Bulldog Glass and Property Maintenance, and as well as Amy's Crystal Cleaning Services. For all your glass and property maintenance needs, check out Bulldog Glass and Property Maintenance, and for all your cleaning needs, check out Amy's Crystal Cleaning
You
Services.
better plug that at least 3 more times before we end this thing.
Yeah, no, well, I've got the plug right at the end, so
They're gonna be fired up.
Look, don't worry, guys. I'm gonna chuck some posts up in our social media anyway, just so you can get all their information. But those guys are some really, really good people. So thank you guys so much for sponsoring the pod. Appreciate it.
They actually are like going into their pockets of financially.
They are, no, like genuinely, like they are. Yeah,
And there's a bank transaction at the first.
there is. I got it yesterday, and I was like, we're officially in business.
What do we got for? So
What do we got?
seeing the thing moving like.
Yeah. Is it hard to pick what internationals you want on your show from Kylie? I think I'd be able to answer this one, to be honest with you.
You can answer, then I'll answer.
Well, I was going to say, I think certain wrestling promoters need to separate being a fan from being a businessman, if that makes sense. Instead of booking guys that you want to see wrestle on your show, book guys that will probably make you more, or will draw more. I think that is kind of the criteria, right? It's not let's go book this guy who I love seeing on the indies over in America, but they're probably not going to make me much money. Like, is it worth it?
Yeah, I guess you look at some promotions and they're booking people that they want to meet them and get a photo.
Yeah.
For me, is it hard to find them to book? In a way, it is, because you're working with schedules and availabilities. You also want someone that's going to draw.
Yeah.
And there's not a lot of people that are drawing now because they're all signed up to either WWE or AEW.
Yeah.
Like I had Chris Masters on. He's easy to get because he just does the NWA.
Yeah.
But like Carlito now, if I want to bring Carlito back, apparently he's signed with the WWE.
Yeah.
No inside information for me, but that's what I heard.
Yeah.
Ultimo Dragon.
Yeah.
He was.
Does he still wrestle over in Japan?
Yeah.
Regularly?
Wrestles regularly,
Okay.
4 times a week. So
Wow.
had to get in early enough to get a date with him that would allow him to work, around his Dragon Gate stuff.
Yeah. Okay.
But is it difficult to pick? In a way, yes, because you need to predict. You need to ask the question of, does my audience want to see these people?
Mm.
Like I could go book. Give me a indie darling.
I need to darling. Mike Bailey.
I could book Speedball Mike Bailey, but our audience wouldn't know. Like most of our audience wouldn't know who he is.
Yeah.
That's not to say.
No, he's
People
a
in
great wrestler.
that's
He's
not-
just the first person.
That's not to say people in Australia wouldn't know him though.
Yeah.
But those people that know him aren't really coming to our shows.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm trying to think of other.
our audience is a little bit older.
Yeah.
So they're going to recognize a guy like Chris Masters.
I think even my brother asked me today before I came to training. He said, "Do you guys get more kids or adults at your shows?" And I think we do get more adults than we get kids.
More adults, yeah.
Which is good because you see like a lot of shows, and it's perfectly fine. Like I love a good kid-friendly show. But there's some shows that are more just like, oh, we just want the kids to come and have fun. Whereas
if you're going to go into a kid-friendly show, you've got to go all in. Like Wrestling Go does a really good
yeah,
kid-friendly show.
Wrestling Go is a fantastic show. The last show.
I thought it was very cute that Pikachu was
Yeah.
and he's greeting the people. As
He
they
was,
go.
yeah, it was great. Like
For a
I think
kid, that's amazing.
yeah, it was a really good show. Like and like the wrestling is great as well. It's like it's a great show.
You're going to hear a swear word in an All-Star show. You'd never hear that at Wrestling Go.
No, you wouldn't. Yeah.
So,
Well, hell yeah was heck yeah,
Yeah.
at Wrestling Go. So that just puts that into perspective, I guess.
100%.
Mike Bailey will be at World Series Wrestling from Kylie. Well,
See, that makes sense because
Yeah.
World Series does attract a lot of the hardcore wrestling fans.
yeah. Well, like I'm going to be honest with you. When I went to World Series Wrestling a few years ago, I can't remember when it was exactly. I didn't know many indie wrestlers. Like I was a WWE guy through and through. I knew TNA because I grew up on that as well. That was on TV for me. But apart from that, I didn't know many of the indie guys. Like I knew of Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks, but even that was a stretch.
Were they there?
No, they were. I think it was like Joey Ryan and Joey Janela worked a hardcore match, and Flip Gordon and Ray Phoenix were on the card. It was like Marty Skrull and Pentagon. They were there, and I think I knew them because I watched some of All In. I know it was after that, but and even some of the Aussie guys, to be honest with you, because that was kind of the show. Where I'm like, oh, I should probably start going to more shows because like these are some local guys that are on here, and I've never heard of them. Like I hadn't heard of Mick Moretti. And I love Mick Moretti now.
And speaking of local guys, you want to talk about our sponsor again?
Yeah, let's talk about our sponsor, Bulldog Glass and Property Maintenance. For all your glass and property maintenance needs, they do doggy doors and windows and all that sort of stuff. Bulldog Glass, Property Maintenance, great crew. Amy's Crystal Cleaning Services for all your cleaning needs. I should really write a script for this. For all your cleaning needs, Amy's Crystal Cleaning Services, she'll get it done for you.
There we go.
Absolutely legendary people those guys are. Yeah, so I think I didn't really know much about Aussie wrestling, and I saw those guys, and it was good because they had the international guys that drew the fans in, but they had the locals put on display.
That's what a smart promoter would do as well. It's not about booking 11 internationals and hoping that you can draw a house. It's making people care about your local wrestlers because a lot of the time the local wrestlers are putting in a lot more effort as well.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I think we should probably wrap it up there.
All right. Well, is there any final questions? We did this last week and a couple come through.
Yeah, we did. There was a couple earlier that we missed.
Scroll up. Let's get to it.
Or Kylie just talks about is getting on Fight TV or IWTV a thing that you would look at doing?
There was an opportunity to do that maybe 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah.
It's not something I'd be looking at doing right away. I don't think the audience is there. Need to build up a strong national or international audience. I think right now we're very strong in Sydney.
Mm-hmm.
But if things are successful in Newcastle, Batemans Bay, etc., then could become a possibility. But right now, I don't think it'd be a smart business move for us to do that.
Yeah. I think, there needs to be like a wider fan base for that to happen for you to, I guess, make your money back because you'd have to pay a certain fee or whatever.
Right.
How that works.
I think they take a cut.
Yeah.
But you don't want to be selling like 7 units of iPay and spending hundreds to do it,
Yeah. What else have we got? Are there any other questions? We've only got 3 people watching at the moment.
Hey, keep that kayfabe, brother. There's 300 people watching.
Sorry. 400 now. 400 people. No, I think we did right. It was just those few from Kyle that we missed. But apart from that, I think we're good.
All right, Alex Box, what are we going to talk about next week?
Next week, what are we going to talk about? There's a lot going on.
You've got to give the people some content. Next week, we'll talk about Bash at the Bay 2.
Yes, we will. That'll be
fresh in our minds.
Yep.
And if you want to see some wrestling next week, I don't think there's any other shows on, is there?
I don't think so. We'll double check that. Maybe not.
There's definitely no shows in Batemans Bay. So
No,
if you're
there's
in
not.
the area, come on down.
Even if you're not in the area, it's a 3-hour drive. Make the drive. It's a lovely drive.
I know quite a few Sydney fans are making the drive as well.
Yeah. So come down to Batemans Bay. From what I've never been myself, but Mitch said it's a lovely venue.
It's an amazing venue.
It'll be a great show. We've got Keegan Brettle versus J-Ball in arena.
Yes, we do. Dan Archer versus Wes Williams for the All-Star title. Luke Watts versus Tony Cruz.
Yep.
Aries versus Vinnie Bronson for the Eastern States title.
Right. And
Plus-
there's Jasmine versus Judy Law.
Plus,
The debut of Judy Law.
I've got to get this in there.
Sorry.
Huge tag team title match. The Puppeteer's been talking about it for weeks.
That's right. I forgot about this.
He's been going nuts. He's like, I finally get to team with the B-boy. And
Yeah.
it's actually Mia's idea. She's
Yeah.
like, why don't you put the B and the puppet together?
It's such an unorthodox but such a great tag team.
But imagine how the kids will react to Batemans Bay to that team.
Yeah.
They're taking on Morgan Rose and Otis for the All-Star Wrestling Tag Team titles. And that's a pretty banger show. That's Padstow caliber, I think.
That is Padstow caliber. That's
There's
it.
not one, iffy match on there.
And I'm sure Caesar and Bucky will be watching out because they just want to. Well, they won their match.
That's right. They will get a title shot soon for the
Yep.
All-Star Tag titles. And then, as you mentioned before, Box, we should plug everything.
Yeah, we should.
Jeez, let's plug.
Sorry.
August 12th, Newcastle, the Hamilton North Bowling Club. We got
Steel City Madness.
Steel City Madness. It's going to be Otis versus Wes.
Yep. Is that the only match that's been announced so far?
Yeah, but there's a rumor going around the All-Star offices that
Right.
we might see an intergender tag team match
Really?
between Billy Mack and Jesse Daniels taking on Jasmine and Keegan Brettle.
Wow,
But
that's huge.
not confirmed yet.
Not
though.
confirmed yet.
Also, August 19th, Padstow, just around the corner from
Just
here,
around the
actually.
corner, the iconic Padstow RSL.
Iconic Padstow RSL main event has been announced.
Yes, it's Wes Williams versus Mike Valuable for the All-Star
All-Star
Wrestling
title.
Heavyweight title.
If
Should
Wes holds
he have it? That show's called Proving Grounds. I wonder who named that. A great
That was
name.
actually Mike Woodwork. And
Yeah.
I appreciate it. Is that it? Or there's no questions?
Look, yeah, the Kylie said Luke Watts did well today.
That's good. I
he was
like
on the
Luke a
Impact.
lot. Yeah, he's a hard quite a book. Luke
Is
was.
he?
He's always busy.
He's
got
a
Slam,
popular
Impact.
guy.
He is,
He's a great dude.
But great wrestler. I'm happy that he did well.
Yeah, what else is there to plug? We've got our Narendra show, which how long is the drive to Narendra? Just quickly.
6 hours.
6
I don't
hours.
know why we're plugging it.
No, I just want to say if anyone wants to make the 6-hour trip to Narendra, I think it'll be a great show. When's our next Collecticon as well? Let's plug that or in September. That's too far away.
September 17th?
That's too
But
far.
no one's going to remember that.
No one's gonna
We're
remember
in
that.
July.
Look, all right, we've plugged away. Batemans Bay next Friday. We've got Newcastle August 12th, and we've got Padstow Proving Grounds August 19th.
And Narendra.
And Narendra.
guy.
That's early September as well.
Plugging spot shows. What are you doing, Box?
Thank you guys for tuning in for the last hour and 28 minutes. I know it's been a rough watch.
What do you mean?
No, it's been great. This guy's great. I'm great.
I gave you my Mikey
You
Lord
gave
story.
me 45 minutes, Mikey. I was so glad.
I could have given that to any podcaster out there.
Look, you could have, but you chose the Mitch and Alex show
I
for a
chose the
reason.
Mitch and Alex show.
And I am so appreciative of that. No, I hope you guys enjoyed the show. Thank you all for commenting and interacting with us.
Yeah, I
It's
appreciate
great.
the questions. I love the questions.
Tune in next week where we talk about Batemans Bay. There was talks that it could even happen at Batemans Bay.
Nah, that would be a Friday.
Yeah. Okay, Saturday.
We'll talk about it Saturday or Sunday. Keep tuned to the All-Star. Well, no, not All-Star.
No, the Mitch and
The
Alex
Mitch
show.
and Alex socials. See, I'm so used to plugging my own stuff.
Yeah.
The
But
All-Star-
follow All Star on social media, All Star
Yes,
Wrestling
please do.
Australia. Follow the Mitch and Alex show on Instagram and Facebook if you haven't already. Make sure you subscribe, like, comment, all that sort of
Plug our
stuff.
sponsor one more
Plug
time.
our sponsor, Bulldog Glass and Property Maintenance, as well as Amy's Crystal Cleaning Services for all your cleaning needs, all your glass and property maintenance needs. Those guys are great.
Right.
Yep.
There we go. Click that button, Alex Box.
See you guys
We'll see you
next
guys
week.
next week.